Hey everyone, Coach Investor back to another video for today. So yesterday, another huge announcement. Well, yesterday, depending on when you're watching this video, on Thursday, huge announcement, Tesla, GM, just like with Ford, GM will adopt Tesla's way of charging. GM owners will also have access to Tesla's supercharger network. Now, of course, at first, this will be with adapters starting early next year. And then in 2025, GM's new vehicles will have the NACS connector built in. Now, with regards to Tesla stock, as you can see last week, the weekly videos, by the way, this is a separate video to the weekly videos. The weekly one will be out on Saturday, as always, lots of numbers to go through. But here, as you can see, last week we said finishing above the 200-day moving average is extremely crucial. And this week we just continued our way up. Of course, with this huge announcement, the stock picked up even more after hours and pre-market as well. And so with the price of Tesla stock going up, we've seen this with Palantir, we're seeing this with other companies as well. Stock price goes up, analyst price targets goes up, stock price goes down, analyst price targets goes down. So what has happened here? Where our favorite analyst out there, Dan Ives, which of course is part of Wedbush, so he tweeted out, "We reiterate our outperform on Tesla while raising our price target from $215 to $300 as the sum of the parts story for Tesla now further comes into play with its supercharger network, energy business, AI-driven autonomous path, unmatched battery ecosystem, and increased scale. This has certainly nothing to do with the fact that the stock price has gone up tremendously." Because Jim Hall here did us a favor to, chart out the price target changes from Dan Ives. Now, I'm not going to go back to 2019 or 2021. I'm just going to go back to December 23rd, 2022. So this is 2 weeks before an extreme multi-year low and bottom. Wedbush Securities, Dan Ives, cut his price target for the stock Friday from $250 to $175. Ives is now the least bullish of the 27 analysts surveyed by FactSet who still recommend buying the EV maker stock. He basically said, "Need a leader at this time for Tesla, not Ted Stryker." At the same time that Tesla is cutting prices and inventory is starting to build globally in face of a likely global recession, Musk is viewed as asleep at the wheel from a leadership perspective for Tesla at the time investors need a CEO to navigate this Category 5 storm. Interesting how this has been playing out. Now, this is not a personal attack or a jab at Dan Ives. This is just a general thing. Stock price goes up, analysts will upgrade their price targets. Stock price goes down, suddenly they become bearish for no reason other than the price of the stock being down. And Dan Ives is no different here. I know he's very, very popular in the Tesla community, etc., in the Apple community as well. But sometimes you have to cut through the BS here. Now, if you're enjoying this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, would really appreciate that. And if you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to get the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. So on June 8th, Thursday, it was announced that General Motors doubles down on commitment to a unified charging standard and expands charging access to Tesla supercharger network. GM will begin to integrate the North American Charging Standard, NACS, in new EVs starting in 2025. GM customers will be able to access 12,000 Tesla superchargers and growing beginning in early 2024. It builds on progress made to date through the Ultium Charge 360 initiative to expand access for residential, work, and public charging. Now, I do want to add one thing here with all these announcements. I do hope that Tesla owners don't get screwed over, because as more and more car owners suddenly flock to those Tesla superchargers, because right now they're still building out that network. And I do really hope that Tesla owners do get the advantage, do get priority charging always. Because otherwise, it's a bit of a deal breaker, to be honest. So Mary Barra here, the leader, our vision of the all-electric future means producing millions of world-class EVs across categories and price points while creating an ecosystem that will accelerate mass EV adoption. This collaboration is a key part of our strategy and an important next step in quickly expanding access to fast chargers for our customers. Not only will it help the transition to electric vehicles more seamless for our customers, but it could help to move the industry towards a single North American charging standard. Remember, still waiting for what's going to happen in Europe and elsewhere. And just like with Ford, GM will also integrate the Tesla supercharger network into its vehicle and mobile apps, helping drivers quickly and easily locate, pay for, and initiate charging at available Tesla superchargers. This will complement the charging experience at the growing Ultium Charge 360 network of charging stations, as well as additional charging stations GM makes available through existing integrations with other charging networks. Now the timeline here, everything that has been announced is very, very similar to what Ford has announced. It will pop up on the screen if you forgot. Now, what's going to happen next? Who's going to be the next one? Leave it down in the comments below because there's still a long, long way to go. In my opinion, I don't think Kia and Hyundai will sleep on this for a long, long time. I think Kia and Hyundai are making tremendous cars when it comes to EVs and non-EVs as well. I do think that they're probably next on the list. And if not them, then probably Stellantis, even though a lot of people say Stellantis won't wake up. I do think they will wake up. And I do think that Rivian will join the party as well. Although it's still startup mode, maybe they want to try out their own thing. I do think that Rivian will join the party here, especially with the release of Cybertruck, which means Tesla pickup trucks, they know how to deal with this. I think Rivian will join the party. When it comes to other car makers out there, Volkswagen, for example, remains to be seen because Volkswagen is a European company. Remains to be seen how things evolve there, but it would not surprise me if they will join eventually. When they see that everybody else has joined the party, suddenly they'll say, okay, we have no choice. Let's go and talk with Tesla. And maybe they're already talking with Tesla right now because remember, Elon said in the Twitter Spaces with Jim Farley, they are talking to other OEMs, not just one, not just GM. They're probably talking with many others as well. So it remains to be seen who's next. But I do think that the Koreans will be next, Stellantis and Rivian as well. And then the rest will follow maybe later this year, maybe early next year, remains to be seen. But I'll reiterate what I said. The supercharger network needs to continue to become bigger and bigger, not just in North America, but especially in Europe, actually, especially in Europe, because Europeans are very, very skeptical about the charging capabilities. And I'll add another point here because a lot of people are saying, oh, but how long does it take to charge? How far can I drive, etc., etc. To be honest, how many people actually drive every single day over 300 miles? Not that many people, right? Because when you go to work, what? It takes you an hour, 2 hours max, maybe 3 if you're very, very far away. But how long does it really take you? Like, I don't think you need that much more battery capacity. If you have access to a supercharger, which allows you to charge, you don't have to charge fully, but allows you enough to get to your next point and then some, or the next station and then some in a matter of minutes. That's the big deal here, not the fact that, oh, the battery has a range of 500 miles or 600 miles, because let's be honest, nobody drives for 500 miles in one take. Maybe truckers, and even they have to stop sometimes. So there is that. Now, I do want to touch on the business opportunity here. So this is a tweet back from February earlier this year from Hallmark's blog. So Goldman Sachs crunched the numbers and estimated that Tesla could make more than $25 billion in annual revenue by opening up its charging network to other electric cars. So as you can see here on the picture, Exhibit 4, Tesla supercharger revenue opportunity could grow from less than $1 billion with the current network to more than $25 billion annually, depending on utilization and network size. Of course, with all these announcements, things are working out quite well. Again, I don't know the economics of these deals, but the numbers here look quite nice. And to add a little bit more here, so this is from 2022, April 3rd, 2022, Elon Musk's tweet. He said that they aim for 30% gross margin or approximately 10% profitability, all costs included, when talking about the supercharger network value. And so I like to add here a tweet by the AI investor who basically did some napkin math here. So American drivers cover 3.2 trillion miles per year. If all cars are EVs at 4 cents per mile, that's $128 billion a year in charging revenue. Tesla can get only 20%, so $25 billion in revenue, a bit like what Goldman has said. with a 30% margin. That's $7.5 billion in gross profit every year. Put a multiple of 30 on that, and that's a $225 billion in market value for US charging network alone. Remember, this is only US charging network alone. And yes, I agree, this is insane. So to conclude, another great week for Tesla, not just for the stock price, but for the whole EV adoption as well, accelerating the world towards sustainable energy. I think this is the right move to do, and I think we're going to have more and more of these announcements in the future. Now, of course, this is great news, but business-wise, as we've just seen the numbers, of course, this is just basic number. We don't really know the real numbers behind all that business, but take it with a grain of salt. I think this business is going to be extremely lucrative, especially if Tesla becomes well, I wouldn't call it a monopoly, but close to a monopoly when it comes to superchargers. Let's wait and see what happens, but currently they are going into the right direction. Of course, do share your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this type of video, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.